So the new season gets underway for Manchester United on Saturday. Yes, this Saturday, Shaka, because I know that shocked you when you heard it. They'll be taking on Manchester City in the Community Shield. We are already here. The new season is upon us. But for Erik ten Hag, he's going to be doing so, as you can see here, without a number of his defenders. And the Manchester United manager has said he will not be taking any risks with players' fitness.
We always want to win, also in all the friendlies. And it's about a trophy, yeah. And so we will put out a team that is very competitive to win this trophy. But yeah, it's also pre-season, and yeah, we don't go into big risks with players. That's also, I think, normal approach into this game.
Darke is with us. Erik ten Hag just called it a friendly, but he did also say it's a trophy as well. How important is it, Ian? Because obviously you can look at it both ways, but if it were to be a blowout by Manchester City, something's got to be made of that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Manchester United put on their most tactically cute performance of the season in the FA Cup final, only about 11 weeks ago at Wembley. So, yeah, it is kind of like a friendly, but it's a friendly to get you in the mood for the season. And I think it's a friendly that's more important for Manchester United than Manchester City. City are in this every year. They've lost the last three that they've been in, but still gone on to win the league title. So don't take too many pointers from it. But it's interesting to have a look and see how the players are shaping up. They're only a few days away from the start of the Premier League season. I think it's more important for United, really, because they need to set the tone. They don't want to get blown out by City, but with a weakened team, they might have to play this 17-year-old Harry Amas, who played on the US tour at left back, because they've run out of left back. So they do look a bit short.
I just think this game matters more in terms of the trophy for Ten Hag, to put it in the locker room, to put it in the cabinet and say, I've put another trophy in there. For Man City, I mean, 7 or 8 of their players are still not even joined up with the squad. So I'll probably, before I seen the injury list, I was probably thinking the other day, Man United will go really strong in this, the chance to win a trophy, where Guardiola will just use it as an exercise to try and get players' fitness and get minutes. So now seeing the injury list, you're thinking, what sort of team can he put out?
Well, he said he's not going to take any risks, Shaka. And when you look, he's already starting the season on something of a back foot with the injuries that he's picked up in the pre-season. Could he have that as an excuse?
Absolutely.
If it weren't to be?
Absolutely. And while, yes, there is a trophy at stake, it's, for me, for all intents and purposes, particularly for these two clubs, it's still a pre-season friendly. It's an opportunity to fine-tune under real match conditions and circumstances as to what's about to come in a week's time. And for me, the Community Shield, and while, yes, I keep hearing that this is, there's a trophy at stake, I put the Community Shield just under the Carabao Cup, and I liken the Carabao Cup to icing on the cake. If you don't win anything, particularly for these top clubs, if you don't win anything else, you don't boast of the Carabao Cup. If City only wins the Carabao Cup in a season, nobody's going to say, well, that wasn't a bad season. They won the Carabao Cup. No, nobody. If you win the league and the FA Cup, then all of a sudden people are talking about a treble, and then it becomes significant. Similarly, if you win the league and the FA Cup, then people are thinking of the Community Shield, and they throw that in. But winning that on its own is no good to no good to the top clubs, no good to Manchester United or Manchester City. So while I think there are times where the Community Shield maybe feels bigger, it's for a team, one that's won the league, the other that's won the FA Cup. It's a pre-season friendly.
But Ian nailed it, didn't he? City have not won it in 3, but they've won the league. And I remember sat here probably 2 or 3 years ago when Liverpool beat them at Leicester. And I got carried away. I got emotional. I think, right, Liverpool are going to win the league. That performance told me they battered City, and then City went and won the league again. So I just think for Man City and Guardiola, with all the players that's not joined up on the US tour, this is just a massive exercise, getting all the players up to speed for the Chelsea game.
What will you be looking out for in this clash, Ian?
It's true that this is going to be a game where we might learn a few things. Joshua Zirkzee, the striker who's been brought in from Bologna, has got a lot of pace. He's the only fit striker that they can play in this game. He might be making his debut here. They've got to put him in somewhere. I mean, as for City, I heard what Don's saying, but I think quite a few of the players who got knocked out earlier in the Euros, although they didn't go on the tour, they have been back training for a couple of weeks now. So I think City can put out quite a good side. They could even put De Bruyne, because Belgium were out in the round of 16, so he's been back in training for 2 weeks. They're probably nearing some kind of fitness to at least play some part in the game. And of course, Erling Haaland, who's got a record of 6 goals in 6 Manchester derbies since he came to Manchester City. He's going to be out there as well. Maybe Bernardo Silva. Jack Grealish, who never went to the Euros, he'll be playing too. Akanji will probably be back in defence. So I think it'll be a half-decent City team. They'll have a stronger team out, I think, or something nearer their first team than United.
When we talk about the season ahead, Shaka, and you just mentioned Liverpool. Last year with Liverpool, we saw this amazing push from them because they knew it was going to be Klopp's final season. Obviously, he announced that pretty early. With Pep, we're unsure whether it will or it won't. Will that be on their mind, and will it have a distraction, or will it be something that you think galvanises them in trying to win it for him in case it is his final season?
I don't think it'll be on their minds. I don't think Pep will allow it to be on their minds. And we've had this speculation over the years with Pep. Never really believed that he was going, but there was always this, will he, won't he, and his contract is running out, and it never distracted them then. And though it feels a little bit more real now, we're still not sure. And I still think that Pep doesn't allow that to be a distraction. I think what maybe plays into the minds a little bit more is we're recognising that some of City's key players over the years, Kevin De Bruyne, etc., are coming to the end of their own times. And whether it's between Kevin De Bruyne coming to the end or other players really starting to establish themselves, City will find that reason to be as good as they always have. I just feel I've never kind of bought into successful teams kind of, we've won so much and not being motivated. Top players are motivated regardless of they could be playing in their back gardens against the next door neighbour. So I don't feel that City and their player, this current squad, is any different at all.
It feels a little bit different if Guardiola was to announce in the coming weeks that he was going to leave. It would still feel a little bit different because Klopp's a very emotional manager.
Right.
And every other week when Liverpool played at Anfield, it was emotional. The scenes and the atmosphere at Anfield were incredible, the home games. I just feel as though Guardiola won't do that. He won't announce. And what I heard from outside was Klopp had a conversation with his backroom staff, and one of them leaked it, and the press had the story, and they were going to run the story, which then forced Jurgen Klopp to come out and make the statement. That's what I heard. Might be wrong, but that's what I've heard. I don't think Guardiola does that. I think the players, like Shaka said, I think he will have the conversation with the players. There's too much competition. Arsenal are getting closer. Liverpool are getting closer. He can't afford to have anything in the back of the players' minds, because anything, and the smallest of margins, Arsenal or Liverpool could beat them.
So going back to Ian's point, though, just before I go back to Ian on this being a distraction, when you look at their season ahead, now without Julian Alvarez, and obviously there's a question mark there as to whether they need to bring someone else in. The Savinho come in. Yeah. Has he got enough to win the league again this year? He
has got enough, providing all of his main players stay fit. But he's talked about Erling Haaland having little niggles and having little muscle injuries. And Julian Alvarez was the perfect player to either start alongside him or come off the bench or start and play an hour and come off. I'd be stunned if Guardiola doesn't go into the market. I don't think it might be anyone that we've heard of in terms of like an Ivan Toney or a Ollie Watkins or someone like that. You might have to go and try and find a new Julian Alvarez from Argentina or Brazil or a South American country where the fee's amazing, by the way, 95 million. So it gives Man City scope to try and do a lot of research and data to try and get a player in for probably half the fee. But I'd be stunned if he went into this season without another number 9.
Any distractions ahead this season, Ian, for the City players, not knowing what's going to happen with Pep Guardiola at the end of the campaign?
Well, I've given up really trying to question Pep Guardiola's ability to motivate that City squad. He's reeled off 4 successive titles. He'd love to make it 5. He might not even go next summer. We don't know that. I think he gave a quote on the American tour, didn't he, where he said, "Why do I want to go? I'm having a ball doing this." So, I mean, we'll find out. I'll tell you one player City are interested in and would sign if they could, and that's Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle United, because they want somebody who can give Rodri a little bit of a rest, because he's having to play a heck of a lot of games for club and country. So they're definitely looking at in that area. So whether they could make that happen, I mean, Newcastle fans would hate it. Probably, I doubt it. But they might give it a go.
Don's body language
I never
just
liked
tells me
Ian.
he's hated
I
it
never
as well.
liked Ian in the first place.
Just a
what's
diss.
he got to bring up Bruno Guimaraes to Man City for?
Okay,
Keep it a secret.
put the Newcastle love aside.
I understand why
Yeah.
Man City would go for him 100% because Rodri's just this player that's just so brilliant. And it's proved, the stats prove it, when he's not in the side, they tend to struggle. I don't think they're particularly similar. I think Bruno Guimaraes is a sort of number 8 where he likes to get forward and make things happen. The contradiction to that is Rodri scored some big goals, yeah, but he's more of a patroller number 6. So Ian, you're not having him. And Man City fans are not having him.